Hey YouTube, well, it's story time with Butcher Bill. Today's story is going to be about the Colt Python. I'm going to go over some of the trouble and the observations that I've made on this particular Colt Python. Yes, the gun is unloaded. I unload it when I take it out of its locker. I'm not going to indulge the safety Nazis by going over each cylinder 16 times to show that it's empty. And for you die-hard Colt fans out there, before you start going Sam Kinison on your computer screen, yes, I took the factory grips off. Yes, those are blasphemous Hogue grips on the Python. But I did that because the factory grips, you can see how they taper a lot. And when I was firing it, it kept just, my hand would, or the gun just kept riding up to where the web of my hand was hitting that hammer spur. So with this Hogue grip, it's a lot more controllable and comfortable to shoot. So I'm sorry, die-hard Colt guys out there, if I'm giving you a heart attack, but that's where the gun is right now. The holster right here is, I think it's Alaskan diamond leather. If you look at Hickok 45's video, Hickok 45's video that he does on the Ruger 454 Casull, he's got a chest rig made by them. But I got like the the classic kind of CHP officers holster for it because that's what I wanted. They're not cheap and it takes a long time to get the holster, but it's well worth it. Alright, so I got this one from Gunbroker last spring, and I've had a squib in it. I've had to send it back to Colt so they could turn down the barrel or the frame. It looks like they turned down the frame a little bit because the barrel, as I fired it, the barrel was loosening. Yeah, I had the squib, and right now the latch, I don't know if I need a new latch or a latch spring, but it's giving me a little bit of trouble. The latch won't fully go forward. You really got to close it, push on that crane pretty hard to close it so that latch will go all the way back forward. So if I just barely close it, okay, well that time it did it. That time it did it. But anyways, so there you go. Alright. See, that latch didn't go all the way forward. So when you try to use it, well, it's doing it now, of course. But what was happening is I go to close it, that latch wouldn't go all the way forward, and then the hammer wouldn't cock, the cylinder wouldn't rotate, the hand couldn't get up there to index a ratchet. So I noticed when I'm closing it, and then I'd have to push forward on the latch a little bit to get it to function properly. And then let me go to manual here, manual focus. See if you guys can see. If you guys notice right there, there's a little bit of like a scar. There, you can see it a little bit better. Right there on the frame. Okay, that was probably from a frame wrench from some kitchen gunsmith. Like I said, I got this from Gunbroker. I'm not the original owner, so maybe this gun, when it came off the factory, didn't have that 6-inch barrel. Maybe it had the 2 or the 4, and somebody tried to change out the barrel. So that's what that little damage right there on the frame was. So what happened to me is I got it, took it out to the range to shoot it. I got about 4 or 5 cylinders through it, and I noticed the point of aim, point of impact wasn't the same. I'd have to hold low and to the right with the gun in order to hit the target. Then I noticed that when I go to close, it was kind of hard, and the rod right here for the ejector was striking that bottom like relief cut. So I really had to push it hard to get it to close. Then I took a look at it, and I noticed that the barrel was starting to turn. It was turning to the right. So I'm going, what the heck? So I went on to Brownells, ordered a frame wrench. I got some pads for the vise. I put in the vise, used the frame wrench, and I tightened it back, tightened the barrel back so that it was centerline. Took it out, got about 3 cylinders through it, and the barrel started loosening up again. I have the shop manual for the Python. This is a very good shop manual. I would recommend it. And basically what I had to do was send the revolver back to Colt so that they either would turn down some material from the barrel shroud or from the frame, rethread it, and tighten it down the way it's supposed to be done. Couldn't just do it with the frame wrench. So I sent it off to Colt. They had the pistol for about 6 months, and it cost me $70 for the labor and $30 for the shipping to get it back, but that has been fixed. Then I got these frangible bullets. They're 145 grain. The website tells you to use data for the 158 grain bullets, so I used that. I think I used 13 grains of Winchester 296, and it was a wonderful load. It felt like I was firing 38s. I got about 20 rounds through the gun, and then I had a squib. So the round went, maybe a half inch into the bore, and then I was like, well, okay, take it home. I use a squib rod. Got a 357 squib rod from Brownells. Put it in there, started beating on it, and it wasn't moving. Alright, fine. Sprayed some oil down the bore, let it sit for a couple days, went back at it with the squib rod, still wasn't moving. I contacted the company that manufactures these. The guy told me pretty much the same thing. Put some oil down the bore and get a squib rod. It wasn't moving. Didn't matter if I got a bigger hammer or not. So brace yourself for this. What I ended up having to do was get a drill that was just slightly smaller than the bore size, chuck it up into a vise, and use a drill press to very slowly, very carefully, very delicately drill out this squib. And I think because it's frangible, that's why I wasn't moving. I've noticed with jacketed rounds or lead rounds, it'll start to come out if you beat it. But you can see right there how it's been drilled. So I drilled it enough to the point where there was a lack of resistance to where I could pound it out with the squib rod. And I wanted to tell you about a load I really like for this gun. The local gun store was selling these. They're just 158 grain, jacketed hollow points. And I used 16 grains of Winchester 296 Magnum small pistol primers, and let me tell you, that is a awesome load. That's a full power load. I had flames shooting out of the fronts of the cylinder, huge muzzle blast. It was really fun. As far as I know, the Python, it can take those. You probably wouldn't want to shoot that type of load through it every single time, but it's a well enough made gun. And then that one other problem, like I was showing you guys with this latch, sometimes if you go to close it, okay, there we go, it finally did it for me. You see it won't index, won't cock. So if I just push that the latch forward a little bit, there you go, now it's good. So I guess in summary, if you're looking for one of these, and now they're getting popular, and they're getting even more expensive because of The Walking Dead. If you're going to go in Gun Broker and get one, make sure it doesn't have those scratches right there on the frame, because it probably means somebody tried to swap the barrel out themselves. You're going to pay a premium for these guns no matter what. They've always been expensive, and now, especially because of The Walking Dead, they're even more expensive. I did not get this gun because of The Walking Dead. I got this gun because of Resident Evil. When I was in the 7th grade, and the very first Resident Evil came out on PlayStation 1, and this was one of the baddest guns in the game, so I've wanted one ever since then. Plus, it's just a gorgeous revolver. It's fun to shoot. It's well made. So just, be aware of those things when you're shopping for a Colt Python, and if you're using that frangible ammo, would not use the Magnum powder like the 296 in a 145 grain frangible. You want to use something probably a little faster burning. The last test batch I did for those frangible rounds, let me look through my log here. I used blue dot. I used 10 grains of blue dot, and it had no squibs, and it was a nice comfortable load. It worked. So there you go, guys. You're looking for a python, do your homework. Alrighty, take care.